Could you solve a puzzle that requires time travel? I've started the process of figuring out what puzzles look like in my game. The goal is to find that level exit and move all 3 characters there. I opened up with 3 characters looking forward. I've made slight changes to these guys. We have an archer, but we also now have a character with a comically large shield and a mage who can shoot fire. Immediately in front of you, there's a button. When you walk up to the button, there's a glowing light above it. Press the button, and you can see the light turn off. This is to let you know that things can be powered. Not much else you can do here, but when you turn right, you can see a similar cable running across the ground. Looking to the right, there's some sort of barricade, but a light above it indicates it's powered. To the left, you see a bridge where the cable goes across. Maybe a similar button is over there. As you cross the bridge though, a new obstacle appears. A turret is shooting arrows. We'll talk a little bit about how the turret works later, but the AI was a big challenge. Being hit by one of those arrows means you die, which sets you back in time by a small amount. Maybe you can cheese the turret, but we also do have that shield. Switching back to the shield guy, we can replay everything that's happened so far. Let's walk him into place and get the AI to shoot the shield. Keep hovering around and let's tank a couple shots before walking past the bridge. I switch back to the archer and we see this cable is hitting a wall, not a button. Next to it is a time portal. Above it, it indicates it goes to the past. I hover over it and it says unlock. It looks like we're missing a key. Let's switch to the spectator cam and start looking at this level. If we rewind time, we can see our level being undone, but we can also see the cable near the start. There's a power block that starts open, but quickly begins to fall. Behind that's a button. We can't reach it to press it, but maybe I can shoot the button with an arrow. I can take the portal to the past, but there's a limited window. But how do we unlock the portal? Exploring a little bit further, we can see a blue block, and inside it is a key. It's supposed to be an ice cube. Our mage shoots fire, so let's melt it. Blue is still on the bridge, so we can safely walk past. Let's open up the portal. And we go to the past, we can see that button. Aim and fire. Once the arrow hits, the light turns on and the door opens. Let's put green on the exit and switch back to blue. The wall is now open for both blue and red, as if it was always open. They can head to the exit and we end our level. This is a relatively basic puzzle, using only one time travel object. I've mostly been focused on learning how to show the player information to solve a puzzle. The other big task was the AI turret. My thought process for the AI is that the AI should repeat any actions that have already happened in the timeline. So if the turret attacks the closest target, it should attack the closest target the first time it sees it, but if we go past the last time it was recorded, it has a chance to update its target. This means you can run a character closer to the turret and it won't be aimed at, only if a different character has already been targeted in a previous timeline. This gets more complicated when you introduce paradoxes. Let's say blue walks on the bridge. The turret begins to fire at him. Then green runs past without ever getting targeted. If something in the past prevents blue from being able to be targeted, all of its memory of targeting blue is erased, and it now begins to target green. Green may never reach the bridge end, which could cause a second paradox, undoing even more of the timeline. Effectively, I've had to change the system from being a continuous recording block to segments of recording. It makes a lot of situations very challenging to model because if you have a paradox that the AI erases information that may be necessary for a future segment, you have to figure out how to recover. I'll probably have to keep my AI very simple for now. It was worth exploring though. Not demonstrated in puzzles, but another project I was hoping to get going was volumes that change the rate which times happened, such as a slowdown field. I can shoot an arrow through this box and it moves only at half speed. Getting the arrow to perfectly line up with the rewind was very challenging though because of how collisions work in Unreal. When colliding with a box, the collision happens after the object is done moving inside the box. So once the arrow is already inside the box gets notified that it was collided with and it turns on the effect. But the arrow now needs to be readjusted for all the space that it traveled in the box with the new speed. The same occurs when leaving. I solved this for straight line object, but for curves or more organic shapes, I'll still have to write a better solver. Currently only arrows have their replay changed since they are the simplest objects I have, but I need to rewrite this for a larger portion of my system so that all things can be replayed at different rates. One of the other small projects on this was to fix paradox chains. When a character uses a portal to go to the future or the past, a copy of the character is created. This is done because they may interact with versions of themselves. But what can happen is if the original has a paradox, all the events of the clones must be undone. I had to rework the system to switch to all points in the timeline and undo them in order. This presented some challenges and requires the user to rewatch a lot of events. I'm working on ways to simulate these events without actually replaying them in game. Replaying them in game makes it easier to reset everything properly because I'm not recording every single variable, only the ones necessary to drive the changes. But that variable has to be set at the exact moment or you could end up with errors piling up as the transitions happen. A lot went into this update that doesn't really get shown on the screen, as I'm learning to make the system really easy to use and bug-free. It's complicated, and the words used to describe it so that everyone understands has been a challenge. Let me know if I accomplished that or what doesn't make sense, or even if you just have cool ideas for what I can do for time travel gameplay. My next task is to create a level which is combat oriented to see if it will even be viable. I'm going to have a fight scene which isn't possible without time travel. I think making it complicated as possible is the right answer to really showing off the work that I've done. Thanks for checking this out. Liking, subscribing, and sharing help this a lot if you've enjoyed what I've done. See you on the next one. I'm a goddamn superhero.